Now let's discuss the resources for preparation. So I've attached two links to in this slide. Pranav, if you want, you can stop presenting and I can open the link and show them. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yep. Visible.
All right. So this is the PDF which I have attached in the PPT. So these are the list of companies which did visit in our campus in 2022 for internships. And the description of these companies will be afterward more elaborated by in the upcoming slides by Aadhar. So the roadmap I have shared, which I and my colleagues have followed to land up in an internship in VLSI. So the first topic is digital design. So you in order to learn the advanced topics in digital electronics, the first topic we need to cover is digital design. So I pasted a few links, courses, books, and places where you can practice questions as well. Next comes signal and system. This is an optional topic which is asked in Texas Instruments alone. Next comes analog electronics. This is optional as well. And next comes Verilog HDL. This is must for all the companies which are visiting our campus. So Verilog is just a hardware description language where we write the logic of the circuits, how the circuit would behave. Those things we write in this hardware description language. And data structures and algorithms. It was asked in Google hardware in this year, but this is also asked in NVIDIA as well. The rest of the companies, I don't think they do ask for DSA. And these static timing analysis is a must for all the companies. These things have to be prepared. And computer architecture, we can add it in our resumes as well. This is an edge for all the companies. These are the offbeat topics like low power design, miscellaneous topics. And these things can be covered at the last 1 month or 1.5 months before the internships. I pasted placement questions last week, practice resources which one can follow before the interns. So I think Pranav can start presenting. Now let's come on to the career options in VLSI. So the career options in VLSI are divided into two brackets. The first is front end and the other is back end. The back end deals with physical design and analog layout of the circuit. Within the analog layout, there lies analog and digital physical design of the circuit. And in the front end, there comes verification and design verification of the circuit. Verification, we can just for an example, let's take a circuit with two inputs. So we need to verify our circuit for basically four cases, namely 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. These are the four possible outputs with two inputs in our digital circuit. but think of an example with 10 to 11 inputs. So if we try to manually validate our circuit, this would take month and year to complete. So we come up with verification softwares to in order to verify the circuits. So these roles are dedicated to verification engineers in in the companies. And one more verification technique could be done with FPGAs and ASICs. Basically, FPGA verification is done when the circuit are smaller and less complex in nature. So these circuits can itself be synthesized in FPGA boards, and these can be verified according to the inputs by seeing the inputs and outputs of the FPGA. So these are the career options in VLSI. Pranav, can you switch to the next slide?
So
I think
I
from this
added this.
Aadhaar can take.
Yeah, so I added this slide as a you'll get up to know about more about the organization that come for full-time hiring later. I think Divyansh will cover about that. But there's just some basic that I've jot down from my internship experiences. So whatever organization that came to our campus for internship hiring. So an aptitude test is almost mandatory in almost all the organizations that come for the internships at least. I think it's true for full-time hiring as well. For NVIDIA, the test platform is HackerRank, and almost all the questions are fill in the blank types. So accuracy is very important here. So they'll ask like whenever you perform a question, they'll ask what the bit string output is like, or they'll ask maybe double integer answers to you guys. So accuracy is very important with NVIDIA. I think this time it came for a design verification role, and that as well. I think they expect answers in double integers, and the accuracy is very important for NVIDIA. For Texas Instruments and Qualcomm, both of them use the same platform for their test, that is Higher Pro, and the tests are of MCQ. So in Qualcomm, I think aptitude is there. Texas, I don't really remember what. I think there's aptitude or not. I don't really remember. Qualcomm also has a coding section and a core section. Texas has analog and digital, different sections for analog and digital. If it comes for both the profile, if it comes just for one profile, then it will only have one section. And for Google Silicon, I think there were 6 different sections with 6 different topics. So one of them was a coding section. I don't really remember if one of them was apti or not, but the core section was very heavy. So I don't know if you remember, if you probably remember. So the thing is that when you saw Atul's slides, right? So in that slide, you must have seen low power design and some of the extra miscellaneous topics that were covered over there, right? So those are primarily for Google Silicon. So Google Silicon, out of all of these, was probably the hardest and the most comprehensive test. And for all the other organizations, hopefully we'll call over more next year. You need to prepare well and expect the unexpected. That's it. We can move on.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, usually you are.
Yes.
Okay. So, so let's come to the project parts. So, when we talk about code, projects are very important. Like in your software domain, you can get projects very easily, like web development, or machine learning. But in code, the projects are little hard to get. So, according to me, on my personal preference, I would say that our department fest, like Udyam', which electronics department organize, and Prastuti', which electrical department organize, are the two most important tech fest which you can participate to get core projects. And in these competitions, there are some events which I have highlighted. These are core events in which you can get projects. And not only projects, you can get very good exposure of different fields of core in these events. Like Digisim and Funkit are for digital electronics. iChip is where you will get knowledge about Verilog. HDL, as Aadhaar said, Aadhaar and Atul said that Verilog is very important for every company. And Comnet, where you will get knowledge about analog electronics and digital communication. Exiota is a event where you will get knowledge about Internet of Things. It's like more about embedded system type of field, and something about Arduino's, microcontrollers, etc. And similarly in Prastuti, we have Concilium, our digital electronics event, Oscillon and analog electronics, and Simulum, where you will get knowledge of power electronics and a hands-on experience. And apart from Department Fest, you can also take some project-centered online courses like there's a course on Coursera on N2 Tetris in which uh, they designed a microprocessor. They designed a microprocessor in Verilog hardware description language from scratch, like they built a ALU and a memory, RAM, etc. And also, there's a way to get a core project under a professor. Like in fourth semester, you will have your exploratory project. So it is little bit tough because professors give project um, like it depends on professor what project he will give. So like if you are highly interested, you can talk to your professor and get a core project. Pranav, you can go to next slide. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Nishant, you are
Yeah,
audible.
Nishant.
Okay. Okay, so uh, these people have explained all the opportunities that you will be getting by preparing for core when you are sitting for on-campus placements and internships also. And being in IT, that is actually good. But preparing for core also opens up your doors to new opportunities because uh, obviously there are more seats. Like competition is less in core, but still it is always good to have a plan B. And so for that, if you are preparing for core, you will get other opportunities like you can go for GATE, DRDO, ISRO, BARC. These are governmental organizations. And obviously, this is the new addition this year, which is the Indian Railway Management Service and Indian Engineering Services. Next slide. Yeah. So GATE is basically an aptitude test for engineers, and it gets job at Maharatna PSUs. So basically, the GATE exam occurs or is scheduled in February. So if you see, your placements are generally in the months of December. So after December, if you are not satisfied, or if you are by chance getting a job in your dream company, then the coming February, this becomes a very great option for your plan B. And preparing for GATE also, so GATE basically comprises of all the subjects of your core. So for electronics student, it comprises of the syllabus comprises of analog electronics, digital electronics, engineering, mathematics, control systems, electronic devices, and all the core subjects that you can possibly learn in the 3 years. And for electrical sciences, it consists of the machines, the power electronics, and all the other core subjects. So the thing is, if you prepare for GATE, even if not for job side or not for getting admission or taking admission in some higher studies or for going for MS or MTech. But if you prepare for GATE, first thing you will be well disciplined in your time. Like you will be managing the time properly because there are a lot of distractions in the process. So that comes those distractions would not be disturbing you in the initial years, but when the placement arises, you will find that you are having lack of time. You are not being able to concentrate on the core. So for that, if you are constantly preparing for GATE, you will be always in touch with the core. And GATE is is at a good level. So if you prepare for GATE and you secure a good rank there, that means you are covered for the placement path. And the best thing is that third year students are also allowed to take GATE. So this is kind of a like it will be for you to judge how much you have prepared. So appearing in third year, you will be able to get an all India rank. You'll be able to see what is your ranking based on what are your strengths, and also then you can work on it accordingly and prepare for the placement. And I personally think that any engineering student who is interested in core, they should definitely go for GATE because even if not for admissions, it would be really great to kind of be in touch with aptitude, be in touch with fast solving accuracy, and it is an all India test, so obviously comes with great pressure. So you'll also learn how to handle pressure and all. And I personally gave GATE in third year, and I secured all India rank 10. And though I'm not taking an advantage of the rank, but the thing is that taking GATE exam, I was more thorough with my core preparation, and that eventually helped me get placement at NVIDIA. That is a very good option for those who are preparing for GATE for the core. Okay, next slide. And this is a new, like if you're prepared for core, you are opening entire domain of government jobs. Now in ITs, most of the people have this feeling that government job is at a step lower than compared to private job. But when you reach fourth year, when you see the scenarios in the world, you will kind of you will have a choice, and you will begin to think about government jobs also. And these are not just government jobs; these are Group A government jobs. So Group A government jobs is same as line with the IAS. And IAS in any term is a very big post. You cannot compare it with any private job or private company. And so for people who are inclined towards government job, or who are inclined towards getting a job with which has an authority, so and they are not wanting to prepare for UPSC because of the history, geography, and general science subjects. For them, running core is the best option to get into Group A jobs. IRMS, the Railway Management Service, it comes with great perks. So anyone who is interested or who wants to know, simply do a little bit of research on these IRMS and IES and see the perks that they are getting, see the salary, see the lifestyle and work-life balance, and you will eventually think that it is a very good option. And now, Group A job basically provides you an authority. So when you are working in a private job, definitely you are getting handsome money, and your lifestyle is a different kind. But when it comes to authority, those people who enjoy authority, or those who want themselves to be valuable, like at a higher position, for them, Group A jobs are the best, because when you are in Group A job, your signature means something. Your signature is very valuable. You are gazetted officer, so any paper or any official government papers and anything will require your signature. So that puts you in a position of authority, and it is really great. So for those who are interested in government jobs or high authority posts, they should definitely check IRMS, IES. Okay, next slide. Okay, these are, I think, for Divyan. Okay, thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Divyanshu audible.
Okay. So in our college, many companies visit for the campus placement, and the campus placement process start from the September. So this year, Qualcomm mentor graphics, quasi-statics, and stereomorphic technologies came for the digital engineer profile. Apart from this, Texas Instruments and Steradian Semiconductor came for the analog engineer profile. One more company, which was the IDH Capital, came for the FPGA developer profile. The FPGA developer profile is a very high paying job, so those who are interested can prepare for this as well. Go to next slide. The selection procedure of the Qualcomm was that it consisted of MCQ test and 3 rounds of interview. The test was conducted in October, and it consisted of the 3 sections. One was the aptitude section, second was for the basic computer fundamentals. It included the CS subjects like computer architecture, basic C programming, and also some of the questions were from the operating system. The programming questions were similar to the topics which are taught in CSO 101 course. Third section consisted of the digital electronics and other basic electronics questions. Digital electronics questions were similar to the topics which are covered in EO 203 course, which is offered in 4th semester for the ECE, and electrical students can take this course as an open elective. The interview was of 2 technical rounds and 1 HR round. The technical interview questions were from the basic digital electronics, Verilog, static timing analysis, and also some of the questions were from the concepts like synchronizers, FIFO, and those kind of things. And these things can be prepared from YouTube as well. Go to the next slide. The selection procedure for the IRIS Capital was that it consisted of the 2 tests followed by 2 rounds of interview. One of the tests was the stress test, in which we had to solve 60 basic simple calculation based questions in 20 minutes. So you don't need to prepare for this test. The second test was based on the digital electronics and Verilog, and some of the questions were like fill in the blanks, so accuracy is also important here. Some of the questions were tricky as it required the knowledge of synthesizable Verilog coding. However, it was not too difficult to pass the test. The technical interview questions were from the STA and Verilog coding. One of the question was to write the synthesizable Verilog code of FIFO. Maybe these terms will be new to you people, but you will get to know about it. Also, some of the questions were from the clock skews, synchronizers, and some other concept. You people can take the EC421, which is the Advanced Digital Design course, which is offered for the 7th SEM ECE students as a department elective. Electrical students can use a playlist on YouTube, which is the Digital VLSI Design, to learn these concepts. Go to next slide, Pranav. The test for the Texas Instruments consisted of the aptitude section and the analog electronics section. The analog electronic questions were from the basic network theory, BJT, op-amp, etc. And this can be prepared from the EO201 course and EO202 course. The EO201 course is offered to the both electronics and electrical branch, while EO202 course is offered to electrical branch as open elective, and it is a mandatory course for electronics branch. The test for the stereomorphic technologies consisted of the aptitude technical section, including the digital electronics and computer architecture, and also one section was there for checking the communication skills. The test for the mentor graphics also followed the same pattern as Qualcomm. However, there were 2 programming questions. And the Geo5G was basically for the communication profile. So the question were mostly from the communication subjects like analog communication, digital communication, and wireless communication. And this profile was open only for the ECE branch. That's all from my side. Now Adhar will be explaining.
Can you move on to the next slide? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, that is audible.
Can we move on to the next slide?
So companies, currently we are on company slide.
Right, it's visible on my screen. So hi, I'm merely here for motivation purposes. So the thing is that I think I've listed out 16 companies, but that's not the end of it. So some of the companies here are, we hope that they're regulars at our campus, but Texas, NVIDIA, and Qualcomm are. Micron this year surprisingly did not visit, but hopefully it will visit continuously. Steradian has been visiting us for 2 years. Cisco Hardware was almost visit our campus this year, but I promise it will be visiting next year. HFTs, 1 or 2 HFTs always visit the campus. Last year it was APT, this year it is IRH. Google Hardware visited our campus for the first time, and Ceremoniously had 2 hires as well, one of them being Atul, who's also present in this meeting and was presenting earlier. So that's a big bonus. Can we move on the next slide? So Mentor Graphics always visits our campus. NXP visits, mostly has MTech candidates, but due to some reasons it will start hiring BTech candidates next year onwards. Infineon is there, visited at the last moment. MediaTek is there. Cadence is there. ARM will start hiring this December, so hopefully next year onwards we'll be able to lure ARM in as well. Silicon Labs this year had less number of hire. Next year hopefully we'll have Silicon as a hiring as well. Synopsys is there. So one question out to the audience. There's one organization that is missing. Among these 16 organizations that I've listed, there is one very particular and major organization that is missing. Can you list which one is it? And then I'll mention why. Then I'll tell you guys why I haven't listed it over here. So anyone would like to unmute and tell me which organization is missing over here? Cisco is there. Tell me one organization that is missing among these 16 organizations. That one very obvious organization is missing. That is probably one of the leaders of silicon industry.
AMD.
Yeah, AMD is one. Okay, fine, AMD. Probably okay. What is bigger than AMD? Just thinking on the right lines.
Intel.
I'll tell you why it won't hire. Intel is missing. So who's this?
Sanchit.
Who said Intel? Sanchit, hi. Great answer, Sanchit. So why I haven't written Intel is due to a very obvious, one very simple reason. Intel does not hire BTech candidates. Intel only hires MTech candidates. So only dual degree candidates and MTech candidates have a chance to go into Intel. Now, other than that, for BTech candidates, I'm sorry, Intel won't be hiring you guys unless you do an MTech. That is. So AMD, obviously AMD is missing. There's a couple of other countries that are missing. But the thing is that I've listed out these because so that you guys have some motivation that there are 16 companies, even if each one there are not total 16 candidates that are sitting for placements, by the way, from BTech, ECE, Triple E, or IDD, Triple E, right? So there is that is some motivation hopefully for you guys to sit for silicon organizations, and we'll have more motivation to call more organizations there. Right? Thank you. Bye. We can move on to the next step. Thank you.
Shashwat, is he present in the meet? All right, I think still now his internet connection is not stable. So I think I will take into this part. Just as a full disclaimer, I am not an expert in research part. I am just here to take Shashwat's part. So Pranav, can you take on to the next slide? Now the hot topics in research is computer architecture and processor accelerators, GPU accelerators. People must have heard of electric vehicles, reinforcement learning, and many more. So these are the topics which one can opt and go for their research part in these topics. Pranav, can you move on to the next slide? All right. The starting steps are very simple. The first step would be to take basic courses, and this includes departmental courses as well as online courses which one can undergo. And after trying all these fields, one can figure out what is their area of interest, in which field their interest is growing up, and they can opt for that field itself. And in order to dig into more into depth of that topic, one can take part into competitions which are held within Udyam', Prastuti', and there are many competitions which are held globally. Like VSD Tape Out is an organization which periodically organizes very well-run competitions, and these also includes, and these will also make your projects for your resume as well. And now one more step which one can take are taking Explo and undergrad projects under a prof within our universities, and the topic could be linked to the area of interest of that student. Pranav, can you switch on to the next slide? Now the various opportunities in open source. There are many open source projects by FOSSI or a foundation. It always goes on. I think I have myself seen 2-3 open source projects recently. And in FPGA engineers can also opt for GSOC as well. GSOC, I have seen Silicon Labs coming up with, they are listed in GSOC, and there are many more companies in for digital electronics and FPGA engineers, and many more roles. And the higher degrees one can pursue in order to do more research are MS and PhDs. And conferences one can attend, they have to make links in LinkedIn, and once they can see the schedule of the conferences, they can register to it. Many of the conferences are paid and they are unpaid as well. So we need to see those things.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Shashwat, you are audible.
Yeah. Hey. Sorry, guys. I haven't been able to. Uh,
I think his
Hello.
voice is breaking. I think his voice is breaking. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
So, which slide are we on?
Uh, the second slide of research.
Okay.
I think I can take on to it. The last part would be research internship programs. These includes Spark, which is very popular and it is organized by IIT Roorkee, I guess. And there are many foreign research internship programs as well, like MIT ACS, which is being organized by MIT. And summer internships as at DAD is also a bit popular in in our in our campus, and one can contact those seniors who have already done an summer internship, research internship in at DAD. Thank you. Pranav, can you switch on to the next slide?
Yeah, so this is an like open-ended question. Like we can have a discussion like how to decide whether to go for core or non-core. So like Atul, would you like to share your experience? Like how did you get to know like you want to go for core, or like it was a last moment decision?
Actually, from the starting, from the starting, I had an interest at core, and as because I took electrical engineering as my stream, so I myself had a bit of interest at electrical and electronics. But for a safer side, as the internships were approaching, many of my most at least I guess 90 to 95% of my friends are having an were having an intern at a software company, so they motivated me to start coding. So from March, I guess, I have started coding, and on parallelly I was preparing for core as well. And I had a few shortlist at software companies as well. And Google Hardware, they had a interview at day one. So it was a first company. It was a first and last company at day one for my interviews. And luckily, I got selected at day one itself. So I didn't appear for software companies in my internship.
Yeah, thank you. Next, Nishant, would you like to share your experience? Like, how did you decide you would go for core jobs, and like, what was your intern experience?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, when we started, it was in 2019. Our batch is 2019. So after first semester, there was COVID. So we are all at home, and at home I started coding. I learned a few like the basics of coding, and that is also required for all those who are preparing for code. You should always have some sound knowledge of the basic coding concepts because they come in handy in any company, in any profile that you work. So I had that, but when uh, I think the teachers few courses that we have in third year, they were very interesting, and I had a proper time to listen to the classes, and that got my interest basically, and I started learning. First, I started learning like just basics how electronics work in our day-to-day life from YouTube videos and interactive videos that we see. And then slowly it picked my interest, and I started reading the books and uh, courses that were necessary. So yeah, that's how I got into code. And obviously, being in a circuitous branch like electronics or electrical, we have a decent number of companies and with a decent package in core. That is not a demotivating factor, because in other branches you may think that the core opportunities are not so much. So you don't have any option but to prepare for coding. But in electronics and electrical, the best thing is that we have a very thriving and very successful core opportunity that we can grasp. And being in IT, I thought that, and also due to less number, it will be it will have a better probability of being successful in core part. So that's how I got into core. And obviously, I interned at NVIDIA. So that time also, I was basically in the verification profile. So I had to verify the designs, some parity checkers and security devices designs I had to verify. So there also, basically, my work was on C++, but the concepts of Verilog were also required. So Verilog plus C++. This was my internship. So there was the design code in Verilog. So we had a chip, and then using C++ and some other software that was in the company, we had to basically verify if the design was working for all possible combinations. That was also interesting, and obviously we didn't get to intern offline, so we are from working from home. But from this year onwards, you will definitely be visiting the off-campus office, so that will be a plus for you. That will be extra experience. Uh, and yeah, that's from my side.
Thank you, Dishant, for like sharing your journey. And Ujjwal, would you like to add something like how did you decide you will go for core?
Okay,
And like maybe share your
uh,
BTP project also, what you worked on.
uh, actually, my B2B project is on machine learning, so we can skip that. Okay,
Okay.
so regarding like how I come into code, like in second sem, I started learning this data structure and algo courses. I took some these TS and algo courses from Coursera, and I found one thing that I was able to understand that thing, but it was not very interested to me. Like I was not very interested in that, and at the same time, I was also attending workshops of DGSIM. Uh, like I was participating in Udyam in my first year. So yes, that digital electronics part was very interesting to me. So at that time, I decided to let's explore more in core. So then I explored more in digital electronics, and then some analog part, and finally some Verilog. So that's how I come in core.
Okay, thank you. Divyansh, would you like to add?
So basically, my changing point was like there was one professor Susant Mittal. So my exploratory project was under him. So like the exploratory project was completely based on the core topic. It was basically the analytical modeling of the FinFET. So FinFETs are basically advanced version of MOSFET. So that was the changing point for me. Like at that point, my interest interest rose in that core domain. That was for me.
Yeah,
That's all
so
from me.
for me to like for me to like participating in the department fest and going through all the courses that we have in second year and third year, so that inspired me like to inspired me to get more inclined towards core instead of like coding or SD. So everyone has added their contact details. Uh, so feel free to reach them via WhatsApp or call. And thank you for attending this meet, and hope you have gained some clarity on which career path to choose and like explore first. Yeah, thank you for attending this session.